The Jungle Marathon is an amazing environment. I mean, it's beautiful, it's the most fun environment I've ever run in because the scenery is changing every few yards because you're in quite dense jungle. And it just gets ridiculous because you're going through swamps and rivers and things like that. So it's not something where you're imagining you're going to do a fast time. You just work as hard as you're happy to. I think the main issue is that it is the hardest environment to run in, with the exception of very high altitude. In a very high altitude, the problem is oxygen getting to the muscles, so you're slowed down because of that. Whereas in the jungle, it's very difficult to manage heat. So you're sweating a lot to try and cool down, but the air's saturated, so you don't actually cool very effectively. So unless you've got a nice little river or something to jump into, you just keep getting hotter, and it's very difficult to manage that in the jungle. So you have to stay hydrated, and if you don't stay well hydrated, your heart rate goes up, so you feel exhausted. Plus you feel exhausted just because it's hot and your core temperature's going up. So it's a difficult race to manage yourself through in that respect. But if you're an experienced marathon runner, you're used to running in heat, then you should definitely give it a go. Just be aware that it's going to be a challenging environment. But that's presumably why you can't do a race in the jungle. If I was going out to the jungle, I would wear Salomon Speedcross 3 because they're super grippy and the jungle is just really muddy. So I think a good fell running shoe would be good, something quite light and something that you don't mind getting wet. Your feet are going to be wet all day. Then at the end of each day, you clear out all your gear, your shoes and your clothing in the river, dry it out for the next morning. But during the day, your feet will be soaked. So you can't really do very much about that other than training-wise, get your feet hardened up. But in terms of actual shoe, something like the Speedcross just has really good grip on it, and it's quite a solid shoe to give you a bit of protection against the tree roots and things like that you'd probably be connecting with on the run.
Let's say someone can comfortably do 10k at the moment. How much training would they need to do if they wanted to enter for the prize and they want it in July? What sort of training would they need to do to be ready for the race in October? Would they be able to get ready?
Yeah, absolutely. But we're just talking about the marathon distance.
Yeah, just the short marathon distance.
Okay. Importantly, the cut-offs are quite generous, so that you could do a fast walk for the whole thing. So that should give people some confidence, and then the more you could run, the better. But you could walk, from memory at least, you could walk the Jungle Marathon, as long as you were a strong walker. But yeah, if you could do a 10k already, then that'd be fine. I think you can run marathons off the back of sort of half marathon distance training. So the further you run in training, the more comfortable it becomes. But 10k, you'd certainly be fit enough by the time the race comes around.